All right, welcome everybody to the comic panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Tailon.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Chawienta.
And today we are covering Marville issues 1 of 6. Technically a 7th issue. It's not real.
Well, no, a 7th issue was sold.
There is no story in it.
Yeah, it was, it didn't have any story. Yeah, is that what you said, Chawienta? No story in it?
There's no story.
Yeah, there's no story, which, I mean, I feel like, I don't know, that's cheating. You can't.
Okay, we should also say what this is for, right?
Right.
Yes.
So, yeah, this is, first of all, this is part of our theme, the second episode in our theme of Morbid Curiosity books that we just had to check out because we've heard they are so bad.
Yep.
And this is the big one. It's on many lists of worst comics of all time. I've heard so much about it before. This is my pick.
Oh, yeah. I had heard nothing about it. So.
Yeah. It's funny to realize, too, speaking of the 7th issue, we'll talk about this more later, but if any of you are familiar with the Epic comic book, and Epic being the published company, not the actually being Epic, the Epic comic Trouble from Marvel, that essentially spun out from this, because that's what the 7th issue is like, oh, send us your scripts for Epic, you know, and Trouble is the one where it's teenage Aunt May and Uncle Ben, and she has an affair with Uncle Ben's brother, and secretly has Peter Parker as her son, and that's all supposed to be canon.
I have no idea. That's you're blowing my mind right now.
Yeah.
It's really familiar, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Really?
It's a different...
yeah, I feel like I've heard that before.
Yeah, different worst comic of all time. Yeah. So good stuff. But that's not the comic we're talking about today. This comic, Marville, it is written by Bill Jemas. It's penciled by Mark Bright. The first issue is inked by Paul Neary. They do have different inkers that help along the way. I'll try to mention them later. I don't normally mention an associate editor, but I will mention C.B. Cebulski worked on this, which, yeah, not a... This man is the current editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, but he also, during this period, wrote under the pen name Akira Yoshida, and pretended to be a Japanese man to get jobs meant for Japanese people. And this has not been met with any professional criticism. He has pretty much the highest ranking job in Marvel Comics, and this is a publicly known fact, and nothing has been done about it. So just gotta mention him, gotta shout him out there for just being awful.
Interesting choice with your life.
Yeah. So yeah, you know,
I mean, I won't say it didn't work out for him. He spun that into a CEO ship.
Yeah. Or EIC, but you know, same difference.
Oh, yeah.
He came in on the first day and they go, "Where's Akira?"
Yeah.
You're looking at it.
Anyway, so Marville, this is a comic that came out in 2002, and it was part of the Marvel You Decide promotion. And so I actually got a lot of information about this from the Reddit post from Our Hobby Drama. So just gonna credit them real quick. The poster is Alathan. And I'd seen stuff on Wikipedia and people kind of talking about it. I didn't realize how much back in the day, like how much drama there was in the professional world of comics.
Yeah, professional's a very loose term.
Yeah.
I feel like that's still today.
No, it was worse.
Okay.
Because, like, I mean, I think that the only person that still acts like this is Rob Liefeld.
Which is actually pretty timely, because this would have come out around, like, 2002?
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely from this generation. It's just that most people kind of, like, grew out of or realized that it was bad for business to keep acting this way, but I don't think he has.
and this way, you're going to explain what this way means?
Yes,
okay.
Yeah. So this starts out with, basically, Bill Jemas, so he is the president of Marvel Comics at the time. This is different than the editor-in-chief. He is, by trade, a tax lawyer, and he has just come from the trading card business.
Interesting.
Yeah, like sports trading cards, not...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which, like, because I think I read the same thread as you did on Reddit about this. He actually, like, contrary to what you would think from reading this book, he did have some good ideas. He like completely revolutionized I believe it was basketball card trading, made it from like almost non-existent to making the NBA millions or billions of dollars, especially if you account for inflation, probably billions of dollars. And then went to Marvel, where he, again, good ideas, gave us Max comics, got rid of the comics code, went further into selling trade paperbacks, all of which were good business decisions, even if you don't necessarily like all of them. And then he, like, I forget if it was a personal bet or if it was just like how did the You Decide come around? I forget.
So, basically, Jemas made a kind of public statement about, wanting to cancel certain series, and Captain Marvel was one of those.
What?
Yeah, and because it wasn't like, basically, I mean, he was really in this post, they and he's sourcing it from a different, blog post, basically, but people have compared him to speaking like Vince McMahon. Is that how you say his last name? Also, yeah. Jake, you would know.
Oh, Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Dirtbag.
Yeah.
Dirtbag Vince McMahon.
Yeah. It would, anyway, doesn't matter, actually. But yeah, so that's like, very, so he was saying that these titles, including Captain Marvel, written by Peter David, were selling DC numbers,
Like
so,
bad?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that was not good enough. But one fan of the title was suggested that they should raise the price by a quarter of Captain Marvel, basically, so that, like, you can keep it going, but it's going to, like, bring in more money, which, like, I can see the thinking behind this, but basically, Peter David took offense to this, he was like, the problem with raising it by a quarter is that basically you've marked it for cancellation. New readers are not going to pick up this series. They're going to see the higher cover price. They're going to either think, one, that it's like it's already like, it's already done for, or two, they're just not going to want to pay for it. Either way, though, it's basically you're just like delaying the inevitable. And so he went on this, like, this big tirade, and, like, basically back in 2002, this was essentially the same as being on Twitter, is having your own blog to complain. And so, so lots of people actually did go to Peter David's blog and see this. And Bill Jemas and Joe Quesada, the editor-in-chief, didn't really like this. But they also had to kind of spin it somehow. So that's kind of where the You Decide came in. And, basically, Jemas especially was, had said that he had given Peter David some tips on how to sell Captain Marvel better that Peter David had essentially ignored.
And I feel like it's worth keeping in mind. Captain Marvel has been run under David for like 2 years at this point.
Yeah.
Yes. It has not been canceled yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So they make this bet. It's announced that at WonderCon next year, they will, whoever loses the bet, will have some sort of consequences. Joe Quesada will get a pie to the face. Bill Jemas will get dunked in a dunk tank. And it's not really announced what the consequence for Peter David is, but the assumption is that Captain Marvel will be canceled.
Jeez. Wow.
It will be canceled. You will be fired.
Yeah.
Get out of our company.
Right.
That's not the same at all.
Well, one's the president and the other's the editor-in-chief and the other is an employee. So. Jeez. But yeah, so they each, basically Captain Marvel gets relaunched with a new #1. And Bill Jemas decides that he's going to write a series he originally titles The Marvel. It does become Marville, stylized after Smallville. And also Joe Quesada, he says that he's not going to write a book, but he is going to edit one because he is the editor-in-chief, And so he picks, I can't remember what his name was, something Zimmerman. He was a writer for the Howard Stern Show, basically. And it's the first original character for the Ultimate Universe. The title is Ultimate Adventures, and it's kind of the thing is though that makes it not very popular is that it's basically like a pastiche of Batman and Robin.
I don't know what pastiche means.
Just a copy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
The CEO really was like, I can write a comic better than you.
Yeah. I mean, it should be also noted that Peter David not only was writing Captain Marvel for this amount of time, but also he wrote The Incredible Hulk to much acclaim for 12 years. Like, he is definitely like famous in the in that world. So yeah, they do this, and they each get 6 issues, and whoever has the best sales, wins basically. And yeah, to skip to the end a little bit, Captain Marvel does sell the best. This gets critically panned. This book that we're covering, Ultimate Adventures, just kind of gets forgotten. It's not great, but it's not as bad as this, and it's not as good as Captain Marvel. Which, like, honestly, one more note about Ultimate Adventure, like, the Ultimate books were selling hot at the time too, so like, they kind of thought like, oh well, if it has Ultimate on the cover, then it's gonna sell. So that also is a ding mistake for it. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much how it went. Captain Marvel did get canceled anyway, but it was with issue number 24. So
how long after this?
That would probably be like another 2 years, basically.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's most of the preamble. The last little footnote that I can find in like the Wikipedia that's fun is that even noted bad decision maker Avi Arad looked at this guy and said, "This guy, bad ideas."
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, Avi Arad, if you don't know, is the CEO, president, something, upper management of Toy Biz, who purchased Marvel Studios, I believe. Or
Yeah, that's okay. You actually just reminded me about that. All of this trash talk about sales and how bad DC is, Marvel almost went bankrupt like 10 years before this.
Yeah, not even 10 years. It was 1997, so like 5 years.
So 5 years.
Yeah.
And we're saying, man, DC's such a trash company.
Yeah.
They've never almost went bankrupt.
Yeah. So, yeah. Enter Marville. This book, Bill Jemas decided that he was going to write something that he felt would, be different. So he went with a comedy angle, and he decided to, make fun of basically DC Comics and Ted Turner, that's another thing that like takes explanation, because even though it was so big at the time,
this is a very much like a time capsule.
Yeah,
of what 2002 was like.
Yeah,
I guess, or like what was popular to make fun of, because it's like it's Ted Turner and AOL, and I guess AOL owns everything. I guess what people say about Apple now is what AOL was in 2002.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean it was synonymous with the internet. Essentially, you used AOL to get on the internet.
Whoa! Didn't know that.
Yeah, that's like you got the little CD or DVDs. I don't know if they're CDs or DVDs. I guess they were CD-ROMs.
Oh,
CD-ROMs.
Okay.
You got them in a box of Chex Mix, or Chex, not Chex Mix. Anyway, in a box of cereal, and then you could go on the internet.
Huh. Wow. Weird.
Yeah. But only for a certain number of minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. That yeah.
And so yeah, that's how that worked. And basically, yeah, they were one of the biggest companies in the world. And they had just merged with Time Warner. Time Warner purchased DC Comics in like I don't know, the 80s, I think, or the late 70s, I mean. Right around like the Superman movie with Christopher Reeve. It's like right before that. And and then Ted Turner, he had merged his company with Warner Brothers, also near that time, all within the that like 30-year span.
Wait, say that again. Ted Turner what?
Oh, Ted Turner merged his entertainment, and he had CNN, TBS, a bunch of cable channels that were, initially bad because cable used to be bad, and then but it started getting popular. So that's where we are. Also in this book, Bill Jemas felt like it was necessary to explain all of his jokes on the introductory page, like the first page.
To be honest, though, reading this like 20 years later is kind of helpful.
Yeah. In some ways, yeah, but it doesn't make them funnier.
I think they were absolutely funny.
You thought this was funny?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they're like the comedy that I get from reading the description is not the comedy that was intentioned.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe reading the description is a little bit funny unintentionally, but Art, you're saying that you read the description, were more informed, and then understood the jokes and thought they were funny.
I mean, I'm sure there's something I didn't get, but I thought they were funny what I did.
Okay. All right.
And to clarify, the first two issues.
Yeah, just the first two issues. That's true. Yeah, because that's
when the comedy stops.
Yeah.
After those first two issues.
Yes, yeah. Basically, it wasn't selling how Bill Jemas felt like it should, so he completely changed.
Oh,
did a full pivot.
What was he trying to get with this? He was like, I'll make fun of because I didn't get that it was about making fun of DC. I was like, this is making fun of all superhero comics.
No, it
So I
is.
was
I mean, this was peak. Like, okay, so I mean, I truly, truly believe that Bill Jemas had like a sincere, actual dislike for comic books and comic book fans.
I can see that.
And he was trying to sell the comic book fans.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Yeah, because I think, and this is a little bit of armchair psychology. I don't think he views comic books as like a form of good culture.
Yeah. Yeah,
Despite
absolutely.
getting rid of the comics code, I think he thought it was like a net negative.
Yeah. I mean, that is kind of what I'm picking up here is that, this is just...
It's not like those movies or TV shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all just about taking money from stupid people, basically.
Not that we're calling people stupid.
No, I mean, I'm saying that he's calling
Yeah,
people
those
stupid.
dumb comic fans.
Yeah.
They'll just buy anything, even though I'm making fun of people for not having books that sell.
Yeah.
Or, for having books that don't sell.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like, it was like, oh, but it's okay because we are being like sarcastic and ironic, which was also rife in Marvel Comics at this time. It was just like the worst characters being all like, just being so like sardonic and, just, I don't know how to describe it better, but just like
sarcastic.
Yeah, sarcastic. But in a, it can be fun to have a character that's sarcastic, but not with all of it. Yeah. And just like mean-spirited,
Yeah.
People like Deadpool, but if every character was Deadpool, nobody would buy your comic.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So anyway, now that with all of that preamble out of the way, and there might be more, who knows? This story starts out in 5002 AD, 3,000 years in the future from when this is published. And there is a meteor shower. And Ted Turner and Jane Fonda, they realize that, like, everybody is going to die, I guess.
Yeah.
Even though they do discover a way to block the meteors, kind of. Yeah,
but not everybody else has that technology.
I mean, it's not really a technology. They use like a karate chop.
It's a chop.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I don't understand. It's like an inside joke for this comic that they're doing the chop, right?
Yeah, and I think it's like there's also like weird, like kind of like anti political correctness jokes sometimes, and that's like part of this too, where it's like you have to sound like a Hollywood Indian, while you say it. And then, like, I'm not going to do that. And then, like, a meteor comes crashing down.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says, I'm not going to do that because it's, culturally insensitive. And he's like, but what if it's the only way to save your life?
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, you have to do culturally insensitive things to save your life in this hypothetical.
Yeah, it's like, okay. So yeah.
I forgot about that.
Then Ted Turner is all like, we have to protect our son. And so I have
It is just Ted Turner. Like, it's not robot Ted Turner, it's not Ted Turner's head in a jar, Futurama style. It is just normal human man Ted Turner.
Yeah, at the approximate age that he was in 2002. I mean, like, of course you have to extrapolate. He's 3,000 years older, but he looks just like he would look in 2002. But yeah, so he has a spaceship for his son. They're obviously doing a Superman thing,
Yeah.
Man, also, I just gotta say, considering Ted Turner came up with the concept for Captain Planet, you'd really think that the Earth would be being destroyed by, like, global warming or something. Like, that would be at least a little funnier. Yeah, meteors, nothing. There's nothing there. Sorry, I already have a lot of critiques of how to make this book like at least a little better.
Jake disagrees.
I just with a lot of books we cover, there's a pretty easy path to get to what we would think, before any of the creative process is like a better idea for a better comic.
Mm-hmm.
This, I think, was just like a bad idea, like from square one.
Oh, no, I agree. I'm working from the assumption that this is going to happen anyway. Like, best practice would be to just scrap the whole idea. But if we're already...
Okay, as long as we're on the same page there.
Yeah. Yeah, also, I'm just going to say right now, I'm predicting the future a little bit here. I'm feeling like this is going to go over our normal episode length. There's somehow too much to cover. There's too much wrong with this.
And yet there's so little story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just strap in.
Yep.
Strap in. I'm going to go full steam ahead, but...
We have to stop along to see the horribleness.
Yeah. So yeah, spaceship gets destroyed by the meteor coming down, but Ted Turner also has a time machine. Jane Fonda doesn't believe it's going to work, but okay, we'll just put our son in there.
Yeah.
His son is also a teenager, not a baby, which is like kind of what they act like, because again, they are basing this off of like the Superman origin.
Mm-hmm.
He is kind of like, oh yeah, you have like these clothes for me. They're from a company called Marville. He doesn't know anything about comics, but he will later.
Yeah.
Which is so weird, so inconsistent. Anyway,
it's like he knows the people behind the scenes, maybe.
Yeah. And so his dad also gives him an AOL CD-ROM
for 100 free minutes.
100 free minutes.
Which, I'm sure in 2002 maybe that was a lot, but it's not even 2 hours.
Yeah. Especially with how slow the internet probably was back then. It's like, cool, I can do like one thing. So yeah, he goes to the past. He's in 2002. Also, our main character's name is Cal AOL.
Yeah.
Or just Al.
Yeah.
As they start calling him.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to take a quick... So, what I thought was the funniest thing about these first few pages was just how much AOL-ness was in it.
Yeah.
I was like, I have no context for this, but it's funny.
I don't know. I wouldn't say it was funny for me, but it is just like, I don't know. You can't, there's a rule of threes for comedy. Sure. Do it 3 times. Way too many times. The Earth is called AOL on.
Yep. Oh, he sold the Earth or something.
Yeah.
Bought the Earth and renamed it. And he was like, oh, I forgot.
Yeah. Yeah, Ted Turner.
He was like, let's escape to Earth.
Yeah. Escape to Earth, right. You're on Earth. No. Yeah, it's only funny because of how stupid it is.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, and also the dog's name is AOL Stro.
Yeah.
Assumably named after Astro. Wait, but Crypto the super dog. Anyway, whatever.
Astro Boy, I don't know.
No. Wrong influence. Anyway, Jane Fonda does think that Ted Turner just vaporized their son. Not
she's
too
cool with it.
Yeah, not too worried about it. Meanwhile, Cal AOL appears on New York Street in 2002. He's wearing these Marvel clothes. Everybody's all like, hey, you like Marvel comics? Because that's what happens, even today, where Marvel is like a touchstone of pop culture,
Mhm.
I would not assume I'd go to New York with Marvel clothing and be like, whoa, you're into Marvel comics?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. I
You're
didn't.
so unique and special.
I didn't even think about that. That is so true.
And then he's all like, no, but my dad's friends with Paul Levitz, who is at the time the creative in charge of DC Comics, and all of the people are like, whatever, man, and walk away.
Yeah.
Because basically,
It's not Marvel.
yeah. DC's stupid and dumb. Yeah, so then Cal AOL tries to see if he has superpowers from time traveling, because that's what happens when that.
Yeah.
And he doesn't.
Nope. Darn, the Earth has the same gravity.
Yeah, this joke will be repeated multiple times.
Yeah.
He'll keep trying to see if he has superpowers in different ways. He does not. He never does. They do send his dog back with him. The main characteristics of the dog are that he's super drooly, old, and has some stinky farts.
I don't even remember that.
Truly the peak of comedy.
Yeah,
That is plot relevant.
it is plot relevant.
Yeah, that yeah, I forgot.
I don't even blame you. Normally I'd be like, really, you don't remember something that's so, but it's not important, except for it is, but it's too stupid to remember. Anyway, so yeah, that's the dog. They're walking down the street. He almost gets hit by a car, but he's like, oh, I have super speed, or like I can stop time, and
Move the dog out of the way.
yeah, and the cab driver is just like, no, I just hit the brakes. Like, you weren't super fast. Time didn't stop. It just... And from there, he gets in the cab and befriends the cab driver, Lucy. And so they go to the bank so that he can get some money. And it turns out that his card is rejected and they go further into the bank, and he does have money, but his account will not open for another 3,000 years.
Like the bank would know that.
Yeah.
Which the bank shows him the money, like
Mhm.
100 million, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, but you can't have it.
It even has
And
his
so he
name
goes
on
to
it.
leave.
Yeah, it has
He
his...
goes to leave, and a robber comes in and steals that money and rushes past Al and Mickey or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mickey's the cab driver.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I noticed. I think I did notice this at the time, but like that was a nod to Spider-Man 2002.
Yes, yeah. No, this is absolutely...
Always the references.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I thought that they even said that.
Oh, maybe.
But yeah, then they leave the bank after the bank robber gets out, and Cal AOL is like, oh no, did my dog get killed?
Uncle Ben, no!
Yeah. But it turns out that the robber slipped on a puddle of drool, and therefore, the robber was incapacitated, and the police decide to give him the money that the robber was stealing as reward money, because that's absolutely how that works.
Yep, don't need to involve the bank, don't need to ask, you can just hand over the money as a reward.
Yeah.
That's... Sure, fine.
It's always worked for Spider-Man that way. That's why he's insanely rich.
Yeah, right. I wanted them to be like, oh, he has the power of luck or something.
No.
He kind of does, but
Yeah.
the universe can't acknowledge it because it's such a...
Yeah, he follows Lucy home as Mickey, right? Lucy comes later.
Yep.
Mickey home and is like, yeah, you can be my sidekick. And she's like, no. First of all, you don't have superpowers. Second of all, I'm not going to be your sidekick.
True.
And time travel is impossible.
True.
Well, I mean, honestly, actually, I'm like, hey, you're in the Marvel universe. Actually, this isn't... I don't know.
Are they though?
Are they? Yeah. Good point, actually.
No, they're in the Earth universe.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I guess Mickey's job just stopped. You never see her like in a taxi cab in the same shot. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yes.
She stands in front of it when they need to do recaps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and so Cal AOL keeps following her, and she's like, I guess you can crash at my place. Which, bad idea,
Yeah,
Mickey.
it's a stranger.
Yeah, bad idea. She asks him if he has a nickname. He says Oral, which, that's not a joke. That doesn't make any sense.
That's just yeah, no.
But she says, I'm going to call you Al.
The joke is that it's not similar to his name at all, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call you Al.
Yeah.
For
Fair.
short.
Fair.
But it's not a joke where like he's hitting on her.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what he thinks his name is short for.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know. So yeah, they go on the internet and they realize that they have the information of the internet of the future.
Yes.
Um,
It's like their own, Fortress of Solitude crystal.
Sure, yeah. And so yeah, they are able to print out Cal AOL's birth certificate and social security card, because that's also how that works.
Yep, don't need to, especially in 2002.
Yeah.
Don't need to send any of that through the mail or fax anything.
Nah.
You can just download it off the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Also, nobody's going to question that they were issued 3,000 years in the future.
Yeah. Or this on printer paper and not cardstock. Don't worry about it.
They never even use this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, they don't use it. It's not important. Then they go to, oh gosh, sorry. I just got it. At some point, I'm going to have to stop pointing out all of the useless jokes, but some of them are just so bad.
This is a scalper.
Yeah, later that day, Mickey and Al decide to see a Broadway play. On their way to stop in the dark alley to buy tickets from a scalper. In the future, the big-time scalpers call themselves ticket masters. Some things never change.
How topical for this time.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, I don't know if I get the full joke. So Ticketmaster is a thing.
Yeah, Ticketmaster is a website.
Okay.
They're basically, they have a monopoly on live ticket events.
Okay.
And
Right now.
Yeah, right now, including in 2024.
I see. I got you.
And so they can basically price things any way they want. I was actually recently hearing about this, like, there's been like Beyonce concerts, who is like one of the biggest performers in the world. And it's like they had to like basically move the people that were in the nosebleed sections, which are the cheaper tickets, down to the floor section, the more expensive tickets, because nobody bought the more expensive tickets.
Nice.
But not all performers will do that,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of claims about stuff going on with Ticketmaster and whether they're funding scalpers.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is that like, people will, speedily buy tickets and then resell them, which is what scalping is.
Mm-hmm.
I love comic books about comic books.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? This is honestly the where, like, this is just like Watchmen 2.
Who watches the Ticketmasters? Is that what?
No, it's who watches the comic book people that
It's
read
like, yeah,
comics.
it's like you said, it's a comic book about comic books, but like, I guess this is just a comic book about live events and how even 20 years ago it kind of sucked to try to get tickets to a live event.
Yeah, I mean it's
relatable.
Yeah, the thing is, like, Bill Jemas is just writing what he knows, which is often what people say to do. but he only knows boring business stuff that sucks.
He also just seems to have a disdain for what he's writing as well.
Yeah, yes, he does.
He's like, look, like there's often it feels like they go, look at how dumb this dumb joke we just made is. It's so dumb because this is dumb. Yeah. And you're dumb for reading it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the 6th issue. It might be the 5th issue. I can't really remember. But one of them, like, really goes, like, shot by shot. And it's all like, yeah, all of this is really, really bad and stupid. Actually, yeah, it's definitely the 6th issue.
It's literally the 6th issue where they recap everything that's happened. And they're like, we would never make a comic book about this.
Yeah.
Because it's dumb. And boring.
Yeah.
And you're like,
that's not what I got. I got the message that this was real. This was a comic that had a message.
Yeah, this comic said something. Yeah. That's why it didn't sell. People want comics that say things.
Yeah.
I forgot about that part.
The letter at the end, that's just like, I thought I was making something that people would like because it said something real. War is bad.
It's like he got the idea halfway through the series.
Yeah.
For that part, he was just like, I'm gonna make fun of comic books and like superheroes, DC specifically, of course.
Yeah.
Even though they both have a lot of the same things. And then he was like, actually, what if it's deeper than that? Instead of dog fart jokes and Rush Limbaugh.
Gosh, yeah.
I forgot about Rush.
I forgot.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there.
I will say, like, with these first 2 issues, or maybe it was the first issue that they were really talking about, like, how similar the origin stories are or how stupid they are.
Yeah.
That was the only joke that I was like,
Yeah.
I don't like it.
So yeah, they basically they go to a ticket scalper in an alleyway who's getting robbed, and Al is able to like basically not incapacitate, but just like disarm him because apparently he has fighting skills out of nowhere.
Which will never be relevant again.
Yeah, never relevant
but
again.
It's fine.
Yeah. The robber runs off because, he's not, like I said, incapacitated, he's just disarmed. And the ticket scalper is like, yeah, you saved me, but I'm just gonna still charge you.
Okay, so like they're making the joke as this is going down, it's like for truth. And then each different character says for justice.
Yeah, in the American way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all like, hey, that's not, true. That's not the truth. And then it's like, that's not justice. And then the scalper is all like, but it is the American way, is like, ripping you off basically. Yeah, then they can't even see the show that they bought tickets for because they brought the dog, and he's like, yeah, the dog can't be in here. And he's like, it's a seeing eye dog. And he's like, no, it isn't.
Because he's not blind.
Yeah. Yeah, it is stupid.
They just end up getting kicked out.
Yeah, they get kicked out.
Argue about it more and try to joke about it.
Yeah.
And as they leave, the guy that they stopped from like robbing the ticket or the scalper shows up and he's like, ha, I'm back.
Yeah, with a gun, which like, yeah, that's the joke of that guy's dialogue. Yeah. And so he runs after the dog because the dog gets spooked, I guess. Or no, that's right. He tries to steal the dog to sell him for medical experiments.
They don't have any money to give him.
Yes, yeah.
And so he's like, well, sell your dog for medical experiments. They're like, no, we won't. And so the robber chases the dog to do it.
Labs will just take random dogs that you have no ownership over and can't prove. I understand you want to say animal testing is unethical, but there's a line between animal testing at its core is unethical and also laboratories are villains who want to experiment on animals. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I didn't even get that as the point. I was like, what is the point of this joke?
Yeah. But anyway, so they run into the alleyway, the dog and the robber run into the alleyway, and then a pow, you assume, as Al does, that it's a gunshot, and that he's shot the dog. But it turns out that the dog had such a stinky fart that he knocked the robber out. And so, as a reward, Al gets another $100,000.
And the cops just have that laying around.
Should go to the dog.
Yeah.
Because the dog is the one who stopped the crime.
In both cases, yeah. Absolutely. Like, I mean, Al is not even interested in, like, giving the dog any sort of luxury. Like, yeah, you get a bone or something, It's like, yeah, this is all for me.
Okay, so, no, never mind. I thought we were at the end of the second issue. We're only at the end of the first.
Yeah. Yes. I'm not even gonna talk about that joke. It was just stupid.
Was it the underwear?
Yeah, it's the underwear.
Oh man.
Yeah. Also, I'm gonna say to I won't mention all of the previously on things for each issue, but there's also, they say Al falls in love with Mickey, but it's a one-way street. Never established. Ever.
Yeah, no.
Isn't that the joke? Because they keep using it for the recaps.
Is that the joke?
Wait, they keep using what for the
the just that he's in love with
They
her.
use that exact line. They just keep using it for the recaps. They're like, but it's a one-way street, and then they'll just use a random panel of them, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I am struggling to think that was intentional. I feel like they were actually, like, I don't know. You might be right, but I don't know. That feels a little bit too thoughtful, actually.
Giving them too much credit.
Yeah, they're giving them too much credit. Yeah. So now, Al and Mickey, right, are at the park sunbathing.
As
why
you
not?
do, I guess.
Yeah.
Is Central Park, New York, a big sunbathing destination?
Who knows? It gets Mickey in a bikini though, and that's what's important.
Like, take him to the shore or something. Why is it Central Park? Whatever.
Yeah.
Of all the things to get hung up on in this comic.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay, I had no idea about the beef between Peter David and Bill Jemas.
Yeah.
This scene makes it sound way worse.
Yeah.
Like, if it was just it's like random comic book guy with a specific name. All I got from that was like, oh, that name, they named him, so it must be important. But I have no idea.
Right, yeah. We'll get there. Hold on. It's coming real soon. But yeah, first I just gotta say, now Al does know a lot about Marvel Comics suddenly. This is not ever explained, but he is kind of obsessed with comics and superhero comics suddenly. He knows about the origins of different characters. He knows that about the first appearance of Spider-Man in Amazing Fantasy number 15, and that it was written by Stan Lee, and that he is like one of the most important writers in the world and does not know who William Shakespeare is.
Has supplanted William Shakespeare in... Did he say he went to college and studied comics?
So, yeah.
Or am I misremembering? Okay.
Yeah. He doesn't say that he studied him in college, but it's like, Stan the Man, didn't you study him in college?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, and Mickey specifically studied Shakespeare. So yeah, then a assumably like poor homeless man comes up to them and asks if he could have some change. Al gives him $100, and then there's Rush Limbaugh. He's just there, and
he's sunbathing too.
Sunbathing?
Yeah. And
the park.
I mean, do I have to explain who Rush Limbaugh is?
He's like the original like person behind talk radio, like AM, like made it popular. And so,
if you've heard a conservative AM radio talk show, you can thank Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, was he died recently?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
2021.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 years ago.
Really?
Dang.
I thought
it was recent than that.
Yeah.
But
are you sure?
I know. I just Googled it, so I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
There's another guy who died recently who was kind of like similar vibes.
Okay. Huh. All right. I'll believe you. But yeah, basically Rush Limbaugh is there and he's all like, don't give your hard-earned money to that lowlife. It was all like,
what did he do to earn it?
Yeah.
You were just rewarded for not doing anything.
Mm-hmm. But they were all like, but we didn't earn this money. It was also a reward.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's coming together in my mind. It uses Rush Limbaugh, who might say something like that, and it's like, oh, but Peter David is the lowlife.
Yeah.
Dang. That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yes. So it turns out that, this homeless man is Peter David. They're all like, I read about you in Comics for the Ages. You lost a writing contest to that blithering idiot. So he is a little
Which
bit...
I guess is supposed to make it okay.
Yeah.
That he is like demeaning an employee of his in an issue that will be published and sold to people as entertainment.
Yeah.
Which I feel like even HR in 2002 should have like thrown up a red flag.
Yeah.
Hey, HR is always on the side of management. Never believe anything else.
I mean, yes, you're right. But we're going to sell what is essentially a diss track
to people. Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. It is bad. Yeah, that's basically the point of this scene. Rush Limbaugh also has a bunch of other sunbathers who are his, like, groupies, I guess. Like, his followers.
What do they introduced him as, like, this isn't selling, but Rush Limbaugh is, or something, you know?
Yeah. I don't know what the joke was really supposed to be there. But basically that inspires Al to be like, I want to help more poor people. So they get in a taxi and they're all like, take me to poor people.
Because that's how that works.
I guess you can just do.
Yeah.
I mean, they do take him the place.
Yeah. They take him somewhere and he starts handing out money. And then a Batman character that is not Batman comes down.
Legally distinct.
Legally distinct Batman.
He has 3 ears.
Little floppy ears, too.
Yeah. Comes down and starts beating up the poor people that have received the money because they obviously must be have been robbing Al. That's the only reason.
I feel like we can skip a lot of this by just saying Bill Jemas has the same take on superheroes as the average Twitter user. Batman beats up mentally ill poor people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, they also got Iron Man in there.
Yeah, Iron Man and Black Panther come.
I don't get that.
Yeah, Iron Man actually vaporizes one of the people. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're all like, Iron Man does talk about how he closed down a factory. Yeah, like, actually, I'll read a little bit from this. Hey, bro, let me go. My kids are hungry. I lost my job at the Iron Man wallpaper plant. I closed down that factory and outsourced everything to Mexico. And so the person that has lost their job, but 1,000 people lost their jobs. And all the neighborhood businesses went bust. And then as Black Panther and Iron Man smack the two people's heads together, they say, I know, I destroyed the local economy, but you can pay Mexicans $1 an hour and they still work like... And then he almost says the N-word.
So this was the one thing I knew about this comic.
Oh, really?
Iron Man almost says a slur.
Yeah, but Black Panther says,
Classy.
Careful, and Iron Man says, oops, thanks. And Black Panther says, people would think poorly of you if you said a bad word, which does not indicate that this is actually bad. It is about public image, not that it is a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
Because, you get the joke, right? Because he outsourced jobs and destroyed the local economy, but he's worried about being politically correct.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I will say I didn't enjoy that joke.
Yeah, no, it sucked. It was awful. It wasn't even funny in how bad it was. It was just like, oh my god, that. Yeah, and then Rush Limbaugh comes back. He's no longer in sunbathing clothes. He's in a suit and tie, and he has a golden microphone, and he shoots a beam of energy at the 3 billionaire superheroes. And they are, I don't know, are they dead? Probably not, but they're on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
He says, if I know how to, turn them on, I have to know how to turn them off, too.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's, supposed to be, conservatives, enable, stupid billionaires. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they also, they do not unenable them either. But, I don't know.
Well, he did.
In this, yes. But I don't understand the real life, what the comment is supposed to be here.
I think, I don't know if you were able to ask Rush Limbaugh a question. I don't think he'd know who Black Panther was.
No way. Yeah. No.
Right.
He might think of the Black Panthers.
Yeah.
But that's different.
That's different. Yeah.
We all know Black Panther's biggest flaw is being too similar to Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Truly.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, then they meet a police officer who is taking the statement after all this happened. She will become a recurring character. Lucy is her name. Mm-hmm. They basically are oh, we'll help fight crime by doing a sting operation where Mickey and the police officer Lucy will dress up as sex workers and try to sell drugs or have people buy drugs from them, I think. And
services or drugs or something. They're just gonna get them.
And they're gonna you're gonna get them and parlay that into arresting whoever's in charge of all the crime, which is definitely a real thing that happens.
Oh yeah, the kingpin. Yep.
Yeah.
I forgot about that part.
Crime.
Can we discuss for a moment their depiction of the justice system?
Yeah.
With the leashes and such.
Right, yeah.
I think I blocked that out. I don't recall.
Yeah,
and
that went over my head.
To not look it back up.
Yeah, it was super confusing to me, honestly, also. It was just so weird. I was like, what is even going on?
Is this... No, okay, it's the right issue, because I was going to say, is this when the Punisher shows up? But that's after the criminal gets released?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. The criminal gets released, and they're like, wait, he's supposed to lead to the kingpin. So yeah, we get to see that long sequence of the criminal, getting a lawyer, Matt Murdock.
Jemas hates defense attorneys, I guess?
And the justice system, but he compares it to, BDSM, and I don't understand what's going on right there.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
That's all. That's all we have to say about it, really.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means.
Yeah. I honestly, I was so confused, who was speaking in that scene, what was going on. I was like, I'm gonna keep reading until it starts making sense again.
Like, let's take the most open-minded view we can for a second, because I want to walk through this to see if it makes sense to everybody. So, at the beginning of this, we're trying to treat the, like, root cause of crime by handing out money to people, and superheroes just beat up poor people, and that's bad.
Because they're just like billionaires.
Yeah. So
they're the equivalent.
But the criminals go through like a weird parade for the criminal justice system, but then also defense lawyers are bad.
Yeah.
Because they let them get them off.
Because they let them go.
Okay. I totally forgot that.
Like,
scene.
what does Bill Jemas believe? Like, what's the takeaway here? What is he, like, let's assume he's trying to say something. What's he trying to say?
Who knows? I cannot
We're
answer that
enabling
question.
everybody, and we need to stop.
Mm-hmm.
This was 20 years ago. I can't think that far back.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, actually, yeah, this also, like, plays into, like, the sarcastic nature of, like, everything is, like, this is also the era of, like, South Park and being, like, a quote-unquote equal opportunity offender.
Wait. Like, telling offensive jokes?
Well, yeah, not necessarily, like, yes, telling
Everybody
offensive
should
jokes.
Be criticized.
Yeah, everybody,
okay.
though.
Okay, I
like,
gotcha.
Like, nobody is safe from, being...
My sarcastic wit.
Yeah. It's like, oh, brother.
We got a real jokester here.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Basically, yeah, the billionaires that are overzealous and over-punishing, are bad. The defense attorneys that make the legal system a revolving door are bad. Everybody's just bad.
But also, so is the Punisher and Spider-Man.
Yes.
Who show up next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because there's after a very dumb Who's on First send-up about trying to find the kingpin of crime. Oh, you mean Kingpin? Yeah, the kingpin of crime. Who is it? The Kingpin. Yeah, who is it? That's the joke.
Yeah. But also they do actually do the who's on first while doing that. Like, they're like, what's on second? And I'm but that doesn't make sense anymore. The joke is about baseball, but now you're just... you're just trying to ham fist the reference too hard. Anyway, and then...
I do appreciate the joke, though, where it's like, are you sure this is where the Kingpin is? He's like, I'm pretty sure. And it's just like, oh yeah, Kingpin headquarters right behind the bowling alley.
Yeah. And it's... First of all, if it's going to be called Kingpin Lanes, it should be King Space Pin. Because it's a pin, a bowling pin. It's not King... This makes me so mad. Be funnier, please.
Then the Punisher shows up.
Yeah, then the Punisher shows up.
Oh, because the police officer like let him go? And so they're like, oh, you're supposed to...
Well, no, the Punisher is just gunning for the Kingpin. The Kingpin. And so he just decides to shoot the front of the building with people also in front of it.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And so they're all like, yeah, we're all trying to take down the Kingpin. You almost killed us. And he's like, hey, I said I was sorry. Which, no, he didn't. He did not.
Well, he did. He said sorry, but I'm the Punisher. So he said sorry.
Oh. I guess so. Sorry.
Is the police officer still in her sex worker uniform?
Yes, yeah. They did not change out at all.
This is also the third time they make the joke where the guy's like, they go up to the guy and he's like, hey, aren't you from this guy? And he's like, no, I'm typecast.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know what that means.
Such a stupid joke.
Yeah,
because they keep using actor cameos.
Yeah, basically.
Do they? Did you recognize any of them?
No.
I know.
I knew who they were trying to do for some of them.
Oh, really?
And they didn't look like them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Very 2002 references, too. I think one of the guys was from The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the last one of that joke.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
And then this one is, I don't understand. They go up to the Kingpin, right? They break down, and then the Kingpin, hold up, you're not overweight white dude. You're.
They also call the Kingpin handsome.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they do. Weird. Yeah. Also, so I had to. This also nugget of information came from the earlier mentioned Reddit post. The person who is the Kingpin is meant to be Spike Lee.
Right.
Yeah, I got that immediately.
Okay.
Yeah,
they say Spike Lee.
Oh, they do. Okay. Maybe I didn't.
Also, like the outfit.
Yeah.
So, okay, do you think this is a send up to the Ben Affleck Daredevil, where Michael Clark Duncan was Kingpin?
I don't think that was after this. Right?
Yeah, but it was 2003, so casting would have been around the time.
No, this is just in general making fun of fanboys that are upset when people are cast that don't look exactly like the character, or in some cases are different race or, different body type.
And also political correctness.
Oh, yeah, because they make the bit. It's like, are you saying black people can't be criminals?
Wow.
Like, that's brave? I don't know. This is a bad comic.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've said that enough. This is a bad comic.
Yeah. It is so
One
bad.
man stand-up routine.
Mm-hmm.
I think, even though it's bad, I think I prefer it over one man's college level philosophy course that we're about to get into.
Oh, that's fair.
Man,
that's fair.
Actually, that's not fair. I think I saw a different thing that was like, this is basically somebody that took an entry level philosophy. I'm like, I hope not. Yeah. This is so bad. Like, that makes,
No, this is the man who, or I won't say specifically, this is what I think Bill Jones, this is the writing I would expect from someone who went to one philosophy class, said, all this is dumb. I'm way smarter than this.
I was going to say, I think this is a shower thought.
Yeah.
Okay, first offense.
The existence of life and God and evolution versus creationism.
First offense. So we are now leaving issue 1 and entering issue 3. First offense.
Issue 2.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. We're leaving issue 2 and entering issue 3. First offense is they had an entirely different art style that I just despise.
Yeah, so if you look at the credits, they actually did not hire an inker for this. It is only pencils and colors.
Wow.
Yeah, issue 3
did their best to work with that, right? This is the issue where it's just text. You get the script, and then you see in the background the script is overlaid in no discernible way with what might have been the panel layout if it had been finished.
Mm-hmm. Oh man,
This is a comic panel first. This is just a unfinished issue.
Yeah.
That they published.
Yeah.
And that's the point.
They were all like, oh no, we're behind, but if we're behind, then we can't properly compete in this contest. Mm-hmm. So they're like, okay, well, we'll just make this artsy. But it's not. I'm not even giving them credit for that. This is all we can do.
Mm-hmm.
I still think even if they were like, oh, it's unfinished, they were like, this will seem subversive.
Yeah,
I think they still patted themselves on the back for it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they did. Yeah. And that's what I meant by artsy, was subversive, we're doing something different and cool, but yeah.
This is also the comic where the comedy stops.
Yeah.
So that
no more jokes.
No.
I mean,
which at first I was like, okay, no more popular superheroes almost saying slurs. I could get behind this.
I think okay, so Al is like unhappy despite having a lot of money. And so it becomes this whole thing about like what the purpose is. He couldn't find his purpose fighting crime. He doesn't have superpowers. Yeah. And he goes, to Lucy and Mickey, the two girls, because of course they'd be the only characters to stick around. He gives them like each 100 million of his dollars, so he has 100 million. They each have 100 million. He's like, I don't want you guys to stay with me just because I'm rich. And so, they walk out the door with their 100 million and then come back in. They're like, nah, we'll still hang out with you.
Yeah.
And then he uses the time machine his parents gave him because they sent back clean underwear previously. And they're like, what else can we send back to him? The time machine through, I assume, another time machine?
Right, yeah.
So Al chooses to use that time machine
instead of going back to
confront God.
Yeah,
right?
Not to go and see the family that he presumably misses. And like, hey, they sent the time machine, so they must not be dead.
Yeah.
So maybe I should go see them. No, I'm going to confront God?
Yeah.
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 I guess.
And so we have Mickey, the taxi cab driver, who is the side of evolution.
Science. Yeah.
It's evolution. That's all she cares about.
Yeah.
And then it's Lucy, the police officer, who's on the side of creationism.
Doesn't have a job anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Rather than, and this is, being a stickler, does not go back to the beginning of the universe. Just the beginning of life on Earth is as far back as we need to go.
Yeah.
Why? Who cares?
The world doesn't matter if it doesn't have life on it.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah, that also drove me crazy, Jake. You're not alone. I was like, wait. Like, we're not going back to the Big Bang here? Like,
no, it just rags on science.
Yeah.
Despite also being obsessive about the minutia of science.
Mm-hmm.
In order to know when to go back in time to, I should say.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is this... Okay. So, they go back to and meet... Jack. I wanted to say Sam for some reason. It's definitely not Sam.
Yeah, it's
no.
Because all he has is a load of Jack.
Oh.
So
That's
they go back to...
make.
Oh, do they? Oh, I didn't catch that.
You guys forgot that they do make jokes. They're just...
Yeah, I mean, I knew that they made jokes. I just didn't remember that one. I was like, still like, why is this person called Jack, actually? Like, I'm like, he's obviously not meant to be Jack Kirby.
And it's the plants first, and then it's, or they go under sea first.
Yeah, they go under sea first, because, they're... Basically, Lucy and Al are almost drowning. Mickey saves them, and Jack is there and is all like, Mickey's mad that he didn't save them, but...
Because right now, they are kind of sort of thinking that Jack is God.
Yeah.
So, they're like...
So, I mean, when Lucy and Al were drowning, they saw different versions of God.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became Jack, this one person.
Yeah.
And so when they wake up, he's like, ah, man, even though you're drowning, I can't get involved. I can't help.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot interfere.
Yeah. And then so they decide to go skinny dipping at the request of Jack.
Why? Doesn't matter.
Order to
It's literally just for TNA.
Yeah.
Like, the covers as well. We haven't covered the covers.
Yeah.
All just drawings of naked or near naked women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not even the women who appear in the books.
Yeah.
Just different women.
Wait, is it different or is it the same one? Because it looked like the same one to me.
It may be the same woman every time. I didn't pay that close of attention.
Yeah, I didn't either. Yeah.
Nothing to do with anything on the inside of the book. Literally just, I think my comic book will sell better if there is a naked woman on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so now they have naked people on the inside, although it is not, they cover the areas.
It's not explicit. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the lady characters also comment on Jack's endowment.
Is that? I thought they literally were just like, "Oh, he's really handsome," but no, they were making that joke.
Yeah,
I didn't even.
Oh yeah, they call him like an African fertility god.
I just thought they thought he was attractive. I did not get that.
Yeah.
No,
I lived in a better world.
sorry. I had to drag you down a little bit. Yeah.
So they go and see what is essentially like the first single-celled organisms that produce produce carbon dioxide as a reaction.
Yeah.
And then step in like a couple thousand years to plants. And then the plants are dying because they're producing oxygen. Nothing's producing carbon dioxide. And so then there's fish evolve. Well, not fish first. Something with a mouth to eat the bacteria, eat the single-celled organisms to produce more carbon dioxide. And then they keep moving forward to fish. And then this is where, again, nitpicking, this might be the worst depiction of time travel?
Yeah.
Ever?
How they use the animals evolving inside the time machine to tell when to stop.
Right.
Yes. That specifically. Is like, so they're in the time machine. They move forward. It's to see the animals evolve, but they don't evolve at all.
Yeah. Nor did they devolve going backwards in time.
So they do it first with the fish to see animals and the duck, what do they call them? Duckbill dinosaurs?
Yeah. And they can speak.
Yep, super intelligent for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Don't worry about it.
Yeah. We just don't know that much about dinosaurs. So, of course, it's totally possible they could speak. You don't know.
Even though that's not how that works.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. This is basically, overall, this section is the Marvel Comics makes the magic school bus for creationism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially. And then the dinosaurs, they fight with some other raptors, and this is the beginnings of his big philosophy is humans evolved to view things outside of their tribe as something that they can commit violence on, and that's fine, I guess, even though pretty sure vegetarian and veganism was a thing in 2002, but whatever.
I mean, they literally make up the joke about that, right?
Yeah, they do.
Is Al's a vegan or vegetarian?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, well, you just don't feel bad about killing the cats.
Yeah.
Don't you feel bad about eating vegetables?
Oh, because plants are alive too. Ooh.
Yeah.
And then there's a mammal, because it's make a whole big thing about the what do they call it? The extinction event is coming with the asteroid.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so only mammals are gonna survive after. So they take the otter, not otter, whatever, and put them in the time machine and go forward to use it as its biological clock. And the otter evolves into no jokes, no bits, Wolverine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which, all right, this is probably my final if you're gonna do this anyway, why didn't you make the mammal an actual Wolverine.
Bro, brilliant.
Like, I mean, it's not a good joke. It's not a good concept. It's all bad from the beginning. But at least... at least...
That's fair. That's fair.
He's not Otterine.
Like, I feel like you can... Okay, if you want the first human to be Wolverine, I feel like there's some creative merit to that idea when done well. But, like, he was also an otter that could, but whatever. It really...
Yeah, and they also, like, they ask all of the questions that they expect you to ask, but without giving, like, satisfying answers either. They're like, but isn't he supposed to be a mutant? And it's like, nah. And it's like, what about his, like, bone claws and his healing factor and immortality? And it's all like, kind of, yeah, but don't worry about it. It's like, but if... I mean,
he presumably has his healing factor, because he does, like, live forever. Like, they time travel again.
Yeah, but that's...
And they see him, like, building a tribe of, like, a Wolverine, of other people, which don't worry where they come from.
No, he gets with Neanderthals, and because all his children are humans, they eventually become all humans on Earth.
Yeah, but
right?
that's the thing, like, is that they're all like, oh, well, you know, having good genes, you know, like, I mean, which, first of all, like, survival of the fittest is actually incorrect. It's not how evolution works, and not something that Darwin ever actually, like, really said. But neither here nor there. That's what they're going off of with evolution. And they're all like, and Wolverine is making all of these humans by, you know, having kids with the Neanderthals. But wouldn't they also have the same genes of being, like, functionally immortal? Like,
true.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, they do have that one part where they greet Wolverine after, like, 100 million years. I don't know how long they move ahead in.
Yeah.
It's not actually that long. But they're like, hey again. And they're like, okay, actually, I get it. You know, he's here again, but he's a metaphor, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm like, Yep.
It's just annoying. Also, I wanted to say, too, that on this issue, they call it Marville Originville, because this is making fun, once again, of Wolverine Origin, the best-selling Marvel comic.
Which Bill Jemas also helped make.
Yeah.
Really? Oh.
Another really bad comic, actually. Like, not as bad as this, obviously, but it's... Yeah, man, it sucks, too.
But the movie was so good.
Said with a sarcasm.
I did enjoy it, though.
Yeah,
but
I know you did. I know you did.
I know you did.
You could have just kept quiet. You could have kept that to yourself.
Hey, I gotta be honest.
Yeah, you do.
2 thumbs up from Tailon.
Yeah. Anyway, though, they keep, like we kind of said, they keep traveling forward in time, seeing how, like, human society evolves and stuff. They see, like, the introduction of war, and it's like, oh, war was, you know, just, it was like a football game, you know, like, each tribe's, like, heroes would go and, like, fight each other, but it would be, like, no weapons, and I'm like,
No,
that's not true.
No.
That's not true at all. And also, it's totally weird that we are having the first human Wolverine be white and everybody else is white too. Like, what's up with that, actually? And that, like, this is, like, the only, like, I don't know, it just feels like this is the only place, you know? And also, the time machine can't actually move location, so technically they should be in like where present day New York is, or wherever the mansion was, I guess.
It should be native.
Yeah,
natives, right?
yeah, but also the whole, like, I mean,
Native Americans.
What we know is that, like, you know, it was outward expansion from one spot, you know, so it's like there just wouldn't be people there, and then, you know, they would eventually move. But also this book is super anti-intellectual. There are like anthropologists and archaeologists. They're just people who didn't get a job. So yeah, basically Bill Jemas does not care. But anyway, back to War. War is a football game, and they have cheerleaders, and they just fight for fun. But then eventually there's people in the tribe that want power, and they're like, you know, people who like have religious power, and people who, I don't remember what the other guy is. The king. Yeah, one guy calls himself king. The other person calls him like the religious leader. And Wolverine is all like, you guys, like, you know, are out of line, blah blah. But we don't need to fight about this. We can vote because ancient societies also had democracy.
Right.
But then they stopped having democracy. Somehow they lost it.
Well,
and
so
just as easy as that.
They keep saying, God made me king, or God told me I command war.
Yeah. And so, yeah, you know, we go through a timeline of basically still just Christianity. Like, we have Jesus dying on the cross. We have
self-sacrifice.
Yeah. We have like religious wars, like the Crusades and stuff like that. You know, the rise.
And nothing important happened anywhere else.
Yeah. No. The rise of like the British king, basically.
Is that who that's supposed to be?
They're doing the chop.
The chop?
They're doing the chop for the king at one point.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
I didn't notice. I was too busy rolling my eyes.
And like Jack is all like, "Oh, you guys like kind of are you starting to understand now?" You know, and it ends with a panel that just says faith.
Oh yeah, because I forgot that the World War III might happen, even though it hasn't for like 5,000 years.
Yeah.
So Jack is bringing these three to understand war and somehow, or like understand the root cause of war, and somehow this cop, cab driver, and time traveler will be able to stop World War III.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I will say he has the end of this issue talking about God and all that, and I'm like, you have some pretty strange beliefs there about who God is. Do you know who he is?
Hey, another side quest in this book. Bill Jemas, after he was let go from Marville, did attempt to publish and sell his own translation of the Bible.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So he does have some ideas about who God is.
Yeah.
Oof. Okay. And he's like, God is part of the ant that carries the food home.
The collective intelligence of the ant colony.
I rolled my eyes at that. I was like, what? Where do you... okay.
Yeah.
Read your Bible.
or you know, also listen to people that like also know about you know, science and stuff too. Like at the same time, not necessarily contradictory, but just in general, read. Yeah, just maybe pick up a book. Actually,
not this book, but
yeah. Well, obviously,
So
yeah.
they end up getting back to modern day as of 2002.
Mm-hmm.
Not shown, but whatever. And then Al goes to presumably a Marvel publisher, but they don't say Marvel, and pitches his story so far as a comic book. And ultimately, it's like, yeah, no, this sucks. We would never do anything like this. I don't care that you're saying something. We need stuff that sells.
Right. But
despite this all beginning because you thought a comic didn't sell well enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you're saying sales shouldn't matter if you have enough of a message.
Mm-hmm. It's about the art.
You guys just didn't get my art.
Despite your art changing 40% of the way through.
Gosh, yeah.
By the way, the other inker, so the previous issue 5, was inked by the original person who was inking and by Rodney Ramos, and then this issue 6 is only inked by Rodney Ramos.
And so the last issue, issue 6 is pretty short. It's just like, recollection of, or like retelling of all the past events to publisher. And then there's like a letter to the reader that is just Bill Jemas talking to the reader. Is like, I thought, I had this big idea. I thought it was really gonna, change storytelling with, all these ideas I had.
Yeah.
But now, I didn't succeed. But now maybe you can by selling your ideas to Marvel Epic.
Yeah.
Check out the next issue, which is all the guidelines for Marvel Epic.
Yeah, he gave up on that. Or he gave up on his story.
Yeah.
And then issue 7, I feel like this bears repeating, is just like a set of creative guidelines for if you submit your story, here's some do's and don'ts, and like it's.
I didn't even read it.
There is no comic in this comic.
I like started the first page and
still the half-naked woman on the cover though.
Yeah. Also,
I read it.
Let's.
Oh, good for you. I'm glad.
I started reading it and then I was like, man, this might be actually the most interesting issue, but also I'm kind of bored, so I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, pretty much. They were like, he has the one part where he goes, a lot of times people write the second issue first because they're too excited to get into the story and like stuff like that. So I was like, okay, it's like the most basic writing
advice,
recommendations. There, he also was like, a lot of writers, including Marvel writers, write too much and expect the audience to know too much because they're such a fan of it. And I was like, yes, that is true. Just like what you did.
Yeah. Also, speaking of the Epic line, I had to look this up. How many issues do you think this iteration of the Epic line? Technically, there was a previous version that existed for Marvel Comics, but this is the new iteration.
And now, if you look up Marvel Epic, you'll get their full-size, full-color like reprints of old comics. Yeah,
that's a different one also, so it gets very confusing when you try to Google it. But how many issues do you think the 2002 Epic line published? I'll give you a free one. Marville number 7 was like technically counts as 1.
So there's at least one.
I don't know, like one.
10. So the Marville number 7, they have Trouble 1 through 5, so that's 6. Crimson Dynamo 1 through 6, so that's 12. Gun Theory 1 through 2, 14. And then Epic Anthology number 1, 15.
Wow.
I was thinking presumably of the issues, I was thinking of like the titles, so that's like 5 titles.
Yeah, 5 titles.
Presumably the Epic Anthology is just all the Epic titles, right?
I honestly have no idea what it... I assume that it was just like shorter stories that they... Yeah, let's see.
I guess that could be.
Yeah,
but I had looked it up and it lasts like a year before they shutter it again.
Yeah, or it lasts 2 years basically. They actually, so the Epic Anthology has 3 part 1s that they never continued. What? So they had Sleepwalker, New Beginnings Part 1, Young Ancient One, which has to be the Ancient One from Doctor Strange, but as a young man.
That's really funny, Young Ancient One.
Yeah. Mark of the Ancient One, Part 1, and Strange Magic, New Sheriff in Town, Part 1.
Oof.
Yeah, only 1 issue of that. So yeah, it looks like, they were planning on doing like shorter stories probably, but, spread out across multiple issues. Except for they only published 1. And that was it. That was the end of the Epic line, 2002 to 2004.
So, okay. The comic, abject failure. The run that was supposed to come out after this, failure. Captain Marvel, continued success.
Yeah.
Eventually fired from Marvel. Well, fired, let go, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Wait, you're talking about Peter David, right?
No.
Bill Jemas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, at this point, like, it's 2004. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, even while this comic was going, like, how do you still go to work with the people who you said your book wasn't good enough, and now your book is abject failure? Like, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't read it.
Yeah.
I feel like Peter David is a bigger man than I for not rubbing this in Bill Jemas's face every chance he has.
Yeah.
Because I absolutely, if my boss came down and said he could do my job better than me, and he tries, and it's known as one of the worst attempts at your job ever, like, I would ride that high horse until I died.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that even though Peter David got to keep writing Captain Marvel, it didn't really go well for him. I'm not sure if I can find, like, the statement, but it was just kind of like, it kind of still sucked, like, basically, he said, arguing over pricing has nearly destroyed my career at Marvel, got me widely derided by the professional community with exactly 0 words of support, and many fans just decide that it has all been a publicity stunt from the get-go, so I lost credibility with pros, fans, and the book was canceled 2 years later anyway. Jeez. Yeah, that worked out. A repeat performance? I don't think so. And that was him.
Yeah, but he's still writing for Marvel.
Right, yeah.
He wrote Symbiote Spider-Man last year.
You're right, that's true. But, this was in 2012 when there was rumors that Marvel would raise the price on X Factor specifically. So, yeah, it didn't work horribly for him, but, it just, yeah. And also, yeah, I can imagine that kind of has to suck, like, having, a bad rep in any area, considering how horribly, like, comics pays. Like, literally last year, like you said, he just got done writing Spider-Man, the flagship character for Marvel, and he also had to do a GoFundMe for medical expenses. So...
Yeah, well, I mean, you wouldn't know it based on how they're treating mainline Spider-Man, but that's a different discussion.
Yeah. So, yeah, anyway.
Well, yeah, bad book. Just a bad book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is not worth your time.
The last part, it was so bad, it made me like the first part more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss when we were doing something.
Yeah.
I miss when this is just bad stand-up. And, if the book, I feel like if you just change the context, we're like, okay, make this the gag comic that ships in the back of Spider-Man or something. Like, that, it'd still be bad, and the jokes would be poor, but it would be less personally offensive to me than this.
Fair.
This really got shipped as full-size issues to comic shops.
Yeah.
One man's vanity project.
It was like sarcastic, but such an insincere, like, I don't know. It just hated itself. You could tell that.
Yeah.
Like if that Ticketmaster joke showed up in the back of like a Fantastic Four, it would still be a bad joke, but at least like I can see how it might be entertaining to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's so like, how do you mess up a joke about dog farts? You know?
But like that would. On one hand, yes, if you are aiming for the lowest common denominator on humor, you can find it. And, you know, there's probably some place for that. Not in like 22 pages of a comic from one of the big two in American publishing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can't even buy this digitally now, right?
No, yeah, it's totally scrubbed. You can't find it on Marvel Unlimited. You can't find it on any digital platforms. It's not out in any sort of collected edition. You can buy the issues on eBay, or you can,
if you want to go through that effort.
Yeah, if you want to go through that effort.
Which it's still like it's not worth it. Like this is not like a so bad it's good. There's not like they're not good ideas executed poorly. It's just bad.
Yeah, this is truly probably the worst comic I've ever read.
Even like on a purely technical level, one of the issues isn't finished.
Yeah.
So like, by definition, it has to be the worst because we've only read finished comics.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
One isn't finished, but like the comic is presented, completed, and done.
Mm-hmm.
All the like indie web comics we've read have been just so much more competent.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird that like, and also things that you wouldn't think, like, you know, in some ways, you know, I also have to criticize the artist who worked on this too, because there's also weird like layout and you know, like dialogue boxes, not dialogue boxes, where
character posing.
Yeah,
there's all sorts. Of, some of the speech bubbles. Speech bubbles.
I
just had to sit there and think, okay, so and so is saying this line. You know that because there's a line all the way across the panel to them, but it's just so hard to process.
Yeah. In one of the issues with Jack, there was one speech bubble that says Jack, comma, blah 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 blah, except for the only way to make the context make sense is that Jack is speaking those lines, except for he just says Jack at the beginning as if he's talking to, as if somebody's talking to Jack. And I'm like, that's just a typo.
Yeah,
there is some typos. There's like some spelling errors. So I'm like, who read and edited this? Like nobody wanted to, it feels like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure that it was probably like very much I don't know how to, like, you know, not wanting to touch it.
Criticize it.
Yeah, like oh yeah, that's probably one part of it too. Like, oh, I can't criticize the president of the company. You know, what if he fires me or something? But then also, like, with all of the drama surrounding it too, it's probably like, I'm good. I'm just gonna stay out of that. I don't want any part.
You wrote the perfect comic, sir. Publish it.
Yeah. At least issue 6 is edited by Ralph Macchio. Not that Ralph Macchio.
Well, yeah, but comic book Ralph Macchio.
Yes, we have. But just for those listening for the first time, comic book Ralph Macchio, different guy. Anyway, yeah, so he edited this, or at least the 6th issue. I don't know if they switched around ever.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I consider this a team effort of being really bad. Yeah.
They wish they were mediocre.
Yeah. This definitely supplants my previous worst book for the show, which was the Mark Millar genius guy.
Oh, Prodigy.
Prodigy. Yeah.
Do you think this is worse than Wanted? Yeah, probably.
I had a hard time thinking about that.
Yeah.
And like on one hand, yes, because again, one of the issues isn't finished. So like on a base level, like I have to say it's worse. I still feel like I dislike Wanted more.
Okay, that's fair.
If you asked me whether I wanted to burn an issue of this or Wanted, obviously I would choose this.
All right.
That's fair.
Yeah.
This is way worse than I Am Not Starfire.
Yeah.
Like that's just a poor, like a fine decision executed poorly. Like a good idea done badly.
Yeah, I wouldn't
I agree with that.
It happens.
Yeah, I enjoyed I Am Starfire. That's kind of where we landed last episode. Like, it just had controversy around it that was kind of uncalled for, you know?
Yeah.
And it was totally fine for what it was going for, you know?
This is, like, genuinely offensive. Like, on a
several levels.
Like it's just like, who?
Yeah.
It is like the ultimate version of, this is a bad idea, but it's being pitched by the boss. I can't tell him no.
So nobody can.
It's a bad idea. Print it.
Yeah.
And then it goes to comic book shelves, and even after the first 2 issues are bad, now he's making it worse somehow. How did he make it worse?
You know, by not trying. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I guess he just rested on his bad advice, which, like, that's the other thing. When I heard that, like, he gave advice to Peter David, a veteran at this point.
He wrote Young Justice.
Yeah,
I didn't know that until I looked it up.
Yeah. Wrote Young Justice, wrote like one of the best runs of Incredible Hulk at the time. Also got into a public debate with Todd McFarlane, so not not outside of controversy himself. But anyway, I can just imagine, though, like, you know, him being like, hey, I have some advice for you, and then just like starts, and then like it just becomes like to Peter David, like, wah 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 wah. Like, I don't know what else, because like he's like, you just have to make it like, have you tried instead of, well, that's the thing too, is it's wild that it starts out as a humor book. Because one of the criticisms of Captain Marvel and Peter David in general is that he is too jokey.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, you want, like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot.
It went from stand-up comedy to preaching.
Yeah,
it did. The weirdest way.
Yeah. It was.
Which was like, okay, that's probably why issue 3 is unfinished. Is they had a third joke issue, partway done.
Mm-hmm.
And then, no, we need to pivot to my ultimate message.
Yeah.
Which is my philosophy, which is objectively correct. Everybody else is stupid.
Yeah.
I was like reading it, and I was like, dude, this is a bait and switch. What the heck?
Yeah.
No, that's not what we do here.
Yeah, it was real bad. Also, just to like kind of like finish out the narrative a little bit, that year at WizardCon there was no pie throwing or dunk tanking.
Bummer.
Of course he didn't follow through. Why?
Yeah.
That's not even, I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Like, nobody even mentioned it. There was not a there wasn't a canceled event. It just,
I can imagine like someone would want to bring it up, but it's like, ooh, that might be bad sport.
Yeah.
Crazy how they wrote the worst book of the decade in 2002.
Yeah,
it's nuts. Nothing from, especially like from Marvel, like nothing.
8 years later. 8 years later.
Yeah,
It's still the worst comic of the decade. It's not even the same decade anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it might make worst comic of the century if it goes that long. Like,
It can't. We have way more talented writers out there just waiting.
What, to make
I
it bad?
would say like worst from a major publisher.
yeah.
Yeah. Just like so much money behind it.
Mm-hmm. I will say, like, so it's I think it's the end, but in that letter that he writes, he's like, you could work for blah 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 company. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's like maybe the big two is what I was
They
saying.
mention DC and they mention Image because
But
it's like
the Image one
even
was
though-
interesting.
like this. Even though this all spun out of sales discussions essentially and arguments about payment, his open letter at the end, I mean, complete hypocrite. It's like Image is so cash strapped they can only afford to make what sells.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's what the point of your business making comics
Right.
is about.
Yep. And Image is still around 20 years later.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of big talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, Image at the time was strange. Like, they were selling a lot, and then they were not selling a lot. Todd McFarlane went bankrupt like twice. It was rough times in the early years, but they did make it through those rough times. Yeah, it was interesting though. Yeah, they're all like the hypocritical part actually too is that under Image, yeah, you can try Image, but they have their own financial limitations and they ask you to cover your own creative costs along with their printing costs. So the outlet is plugged into a life savings vacuum cleaner, basically saying that you're going to have to pay for everything anyway. It's basically like self-publishing, except for they're going to take your money to do it.
I see.
And so...
Oh, I didn't get that at all.
But the thing is that if you go into the 7th issue and you, like, to the end, they're basically asking you to do the exact same thing. They're like, we'll publish your book, but you have to do it all.
Jeez. Yeah, that's fair.
So, yeah, it's just, like, so hypocritical.
Well, see, but it's not our life savings vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, right.
So, takeaways. Bad comic.
Yeah.
Really bears repeating. Just I know I've said it a lot. I don't know if I've said it enough.
Yeah. Bad comic. Yeah, I don't know if our other, like, I'll say it'll be really nice to read the next comics, I think.
Yeah. Wait,
It'll be nice to read a different comic than this.
Yeah.
Is it
You
my
know?
Any comic after this, I feel like we're going to have a warped view of because it's not this comic.
Yeah.
So I think the next pick is mine, and we're doing Ultimate Iron Man.
Yeah, although I was talking to somebody lately, and I was telling them about, like, you know, which books we're covering, and they kind of strongly, like, I mean, okay, I took it as a recommendation. They said, at least you're not doing Ultimatum. But I was like,
Ultimatum is also famously terrible.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I do kind of feel like Ultimate Iron Man might just be, like, mediocrely bad, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's your choice too.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, though, yeah. So this was Marville. It was a lot. We didn't even mention, like, the opening cover. Like, yeah, we talked about the covers with all of the, like, scantily clad women, but the opening cover was also making fun of Smallville with Kal AOL hung up on a fence with a big M on his chest painted. Yeah.
I didn't laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. Me neither.
For the
really
record.
set the tone for everything for me.
Yeah.
That cover.
Oh, yeah. For the record, favorite TV show ever is Smallville for me. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't laugh.
inexplicably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It has its fans. I've learned to accept that.
It's a good show.
Somebody's gotta love it.
Yeah.
They made 10 seasons. Somebody had to like it.
Many people.
Hey, it was the early 2000s. Nobody knew it was good. It's fine.
Wow.
Gosh.
I've never seen it. Maybe it's the best thing ever, Tailon.
Yeah. All right. I think that's all that we can say about Marville. It was bad. It has no redeeming qualities.
I would almost say you don't have to watch this episode, but please watch. Or you don't have to listen to this episode.
Yeah.
Please listen.
Yeah. Listening to it, like, I mean, that's probably all that, you get the background, because I mean, that's the other thing. Like, the Wikipedia page for this is not complete. It does not have the information I gave you here.
They also gave up after 2 issues.
Yeah. Actually, that's the other thing about this, is that I always heard about it being the worst comic of all time, but it was always just the content of the first 2 issues.
Oh yeah.
Nobody ever talked about issues 3 through 6. So I don't know. I just have to assume they never read them. I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, so this has been the Comic Panel.
Yes.
I'm Cody.
I'm Tailon.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Chawienta.
And we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening.